Welcome to Faith-Filled Motherhood, where real talk meets real faith. I'm Carly.
And I'm her twin sister, Brooke. Each week, we dive into the heart of motherhood through the lens of grace, hope, and truth.
Whether you're in the carpool line, folding laundry, or maybe you're on your way to work, we're here to walk this journey with you.
We're so glad you're here with us today. You're listening to Faith-Filled Motherhood.
Welcome back to Faith-Filled Motherhood. We are excited this episode to dive into more of Brooke's story and just hear more about what got her to where she is in her job, in her parenthood, in her love life, or not.
Lack thereof.
Just where she's at and how she got to where she is. So we are going to dive right in. This is gonna be a little bit more interview style, but I'm excited about it. So Brooke, is there anything that you want to say to open up before we kind of dive into the nitty gritty?
No.
Let's go.
I don't like all the being in the hot seat, really, but yeah.
All right.
Should be fun.
Just give me a little bit before we kind of get into like question and answer or whatever style, just short little timeline,
Short
of or long, of what got you to where you are. What's kind of what events
like
have
job
led?
wise or just
Job, marriage,
know my life?
single, yeah, just
Okay.
kind of.
So let's see. Well, I got married when I was 20, and quickly within 6 months we got pregnant. We had our oldest and had a few kids after that. Our marriage was not easy from the get-go, and after 5.5 years we got divorced, and we co-parent pretty well now, pretty well compared to most co-parenting situations, and yeah, so I've been a single mom now for almost 6 years. In November it will be 6 years of single momming. And a couple of years ago, I was kind of just done with this state that we live in of California, and wanting a better, different life. Not better, just different for my kids and different schooling opportunities and all of that. And so I was talking to my brother, and he was getting ready to move to the East Coast, and he's like, just come with us. And it's funny, actually, South Carolina is like where I was like, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you remember this, but it was my idea to go to South Carolina.
Yeah.
And
you had gone to North Carolina.
No, I had been to South Carolina when I was a teenager. That's a whole different story.
I thought that was North.
And then I had been to North Carolina for work too. So he moved, and I was like set, and in 6 months I'll be joining them, and that's where I'm going to go. And their dad signed a paper, and we got it notarized, and I was going to move to South Carolina where the grass is greener. And God closed the door. Doors kept opening for jobs. I was getting reached out to through LinkedIn for jobs to apply, and I would apply, and I'd go through the interview process, and I've done HR, so I can.
You were more than qualified for.
And I can gauge pretty well how an interview goes. And it was like God just kept closing the doors because I was getting like ghosted by these companies that I was qualified for. And for the very, very first time ever, I think, in my life, I was like, okay, I'm done trying to plan what's best for me. God, you open the doors and close the doors. And if it's here that you want me to stay, I was kind of done with the job I was doing. I was working from home, and I was just kind of
I was trying to remember where you were.
I had been doing that for a year. And so I was just kind of, it was really difficult to work from home in a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 kids. And I don't have adult interaction as it is at home. And so I was really missing that adult interaction. And within a week, I was reached out to by a recruiting company to apply for the pregnancy center job that I took. And it was the most peace I've ever had walking into a job interview and leaving. And I just really felt like that's where God wanted me. And so yeah, single mom for almost 6 years, executive director for the last 2 years. living and loving California still, even though it's crazy for what I do as a career, but also just raising kids and
Well,
how'd I do on the timeline?
That's pretty quick. Yeah. We'll get into this later. Are you dating?
No. Not by choice.
There's some lovely men on TikTok who want to give you money.
Yes.
Anywho.
If you use the word sugar daddy, I'm definitely not interested.
So what you're doing right now is super cool. I'm jealous all the time. I want to do it. But you got to take your professional experience, your ministry experience, and your mom experience and kind of put it all into a paycheck.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So what do? You work at a pregnancy center. Are you helping deliver babies?
No, my kids were like, oh, my mom delivers babies. No, I definitely did not go to school. That's true. Definitely did not do the required schooling to be delivering babies. No.
So what is it that you are doing there then?
Yeah.
So being a boss lady.
So our pregnancy center offers medical services, physical resources, parenting classes. So my job is to oversee the center, oversee the staff, and the volunteers, and just make sure that the center continues to run and grow. And we've done a lot of growing over the last 2 years even. A big part of my job is getting out there and getting donations for the center. We are a nonprofit, so we're fully donor funded, and we continue to grow. Therefore, we continue to need more funds. And so I spend a lot of my time out at chamber lunches or churches speaking, and that's definitely not something I ever saw myself doing. Even in my interview, which was like with the board, it's funny. One of the ladies on the board was like, "I've heard you speak before. You did you're such a good speaker."
Oh, really?
And I was like, "No, that was my twin sister," because she had come to one of our women's events, and Carly was preaching. And I was like, "Oh no, that's not me.
That's funny.
That is my twin sister."
She's just been like, "Yeah, I rocked it."
No, I don't want to give false hope. And I said, that is the one area of this position that I will definitely have to stretch myself in. But now I'm comfortable speaking in front of people, and
she's preaching
on stage and
leading welcomes on stage, speaking at different things.
Not comfortably,
very
but definitely gotten more comfortable with it. And so that's what I do for work. We get to see women coming in with all different kinds of backgrounds and stories, and it's been a really great blessing in my life to be able to walk alongside some specific women who are doing it alone or worried about doing it alone, and just using my own life experience as a single mom to be able to encourage them and come alongside them and just lift them up and let them know that even if they're doing it alone, they can do it. And because we don't ever truly do it alone.
Nope. Parent with the Holy Spirit. I think it's neat because I went there.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that until later, I think. Because I got pregnant at 18, and the hospital referred us there for like a birthing class or something. And so I just was like, "Oh, that's so cool. I went there as an 18-year-old and I want to work there, but I can't because I'm related to the boss." But I think it's really cool that you're doing that, and especially because I have benefited from it myself. And then I know people that we know that have benefited from it. What is it like walking alongside a mom who you don't know? Obviously, if it's not a secret, we are together, both very for pro-life, and I don't even want to just say against abortion, because that almost sounds like you're against the mom in my mind. You know what I mean? But we are against ending life, no matter what the difficulty is.
Yeah, my pastor always says, let's not talk about what we're against, but what we're for. And so getting behind programs like what we do.
Yeah, so it is anti-abortion, but it's really pro-life, pro-parent. And I think we both have a heart for seeing parents thrive, right? And so what is it like walking alongside a mom who, or even like a couple who you don't know what the end is going to look like? You don't know if they're going to choose life.
Yeah. It's challenging. There's some really great rewards that come with it, especially when a mom or a dad or both, choose life for that baby. And there's often times where we don't get to know the outcome of the story. But I'm constantly reminding our volunteers, who really are the backbone of our ministry, and our staff too, that it's our job to plant seeds, but we don't get to control the outcome. Just like with anything else, it's not.
So I was gonna say that's like ministry in general, life in general.
It's not our job. Yeah, exactly. It's not our job to change anybody's minds. It's our job to plant seeds of truth and hope and love. And there was a pastor that I had heard speak at one of the events I went to, and he said, we often question in ministry in general. He was just talking about ministry, but also like in the pregnancy center world, like when have we done enough? And he said for him, he's come up with these 3 points, and it's did I show them love? Did I share Jesus? And did I tell them the truth? So that's what we strive to do, is be honest with them, point them to Jesus. Our goal is that they choose life, but our ultimate goal is that they would know Jesus. And so it can be very challenging in their circumstances, especially my hardest one was an 11-year-old that came in. And at the time, my niece was 11. And that was my hardest one. She wasn't pregnant, thank God, but she had been raped. And that we try not to take the job home with us, of course, but we love people. And that one put it into a whole new perspective for me, because all I could see is my niece, and just wanted to save all these girls from going through any kind of hurt. And the hard thing is abortion sometimes does seem like the easiest and most fair option to the parent, but just knowing the reality.
Or they think the most fair to the child.
Yeah. And just seeing one study after study, but also women after women who have thought that would be the answer to their struggles, yet it brought a whole new hurt and aspects of grief and long-term suffering from just the reality of those choices and walking through that.
That's hard. Like even getting pregnant at 18, it was like there's hard things you're gonna walk through no matter what. If whether that choice was made for you, unfortunately, through rape or something like that, or you made a mistake, or you thought you were with the love of your life and this is gonna be the best thing ever, and then they leave you and you're pregnant. Whatever the circumstance is, unfortunately, because we live in a sinful world, so regardless of how, there's always going to be consequences and hard things to walk through. And it's like, it's so sad to me having a daughter out of like wedlock, and not the best decision, that like she is like one of my biggest blessings in the whole world. But you can't tell someone that and then believe it generally when they're in the thick of like the pain. And that's,
and
I just want to be like, look at it. It all worked out okay. Like, yes, it was hard at times. And there are so many that have it so much worse than I had to walk through, but like the pain is just worth it in the end. Whether they keep the child and raise them or adopt or whatever it is. Like,
and I just want to throw this out there too, because I think pregnancy, there's over 100, there's like 165 now, I think, in California alone, but there's thousands across the country, and there's such a stigma about us and what we do in our approach to things. And so I just want to throw this out there. First of all, one, visit a pregnancy center. Like, I'm sure there's one within an hour distance of you, if not maybe 2, and see it for yourself, because what you think goes on and what you think it looks like is probably the complete opposite of what it actually is like. But 2, I have been asked, like a woman at a local business straight up asked me, so you don't chase them out into the parking lot and beat them up if they choose an abortion? No, I don't.
That's not part of our business plan.
No. I'm not trying to go to jail. No, our board president always says, like, we are actually the most pro-choice organization because we present all of their choices. And we are very honest about every choice that they have. There's 3 choices. You could parent, you could adopt out, or you can abort. And these are the consequences, or these are the, ramifications of each choice. And we truly leave it up to the woman to decide. And we've been told countless times, and I know it's not just our center, but that we're so non-judgmental. And there's women that come in and we know for a fact that they're going to go have an abortion, and they know for a fact that they're going to have an abortion, and we still treat them with the same kindness and love and grace. And respect is a woman who comes in and is fully planning to parent their child. And we offer them back. And we've had women come back for a lot of, we've done a lot of post-abortion counseling.
That's what I was actually just going to say. I didn't know if we had mentioned that yet. I think that's where the stigma, people don't realize, is like, even as Christians, I think it's not something that's talked about enough in churches. The hard topics often aren't in most churches. But the reality of like, we all sin, we all make poor choices. And why is that one worse than another?
And it's not.
And those are still human beings who now have way more hurt than they did before that. And so it's like to just cast them aside because they didn't choose what we believe is the right choice, to just be cast aside. And I think that's where a lot of those women end up so much more broken, is because they feel now the instant shame and pain, and then they feel judged. And so how do you guys handle that?
With grace and love. We offer post-abortion counseling, and there's, if you have walked through this in your life, or you know somebody that has walked through an abortion, most centers do offer post-abortion counseling. But there's also just a great study that we use, most centers use, that you could even do on your own, and it's Forgiven and Set Free. And it's a Bible study that goes through the process and the grieving process and the healing process of abortion. And it's often looked at as the unforgivable sin, especially if you're a Christian, because we know the value of life. As Christians, we know that God created us more precious than any of his other creations, and that we're made in his image. And as a Christian who chose that option, it's often looked at, like, from yourself, as like unforgivable. And I think Christians know that God forgives them, but there's an aspect of forgiving yourself.
In so many areas.
In so many areas.
In my own life, and with not abortion.
Yeah.
Just, like, I know God can forgive everyone else, and sure, he forgives me, but it really, if you can't forgive yourself, it's like you really aren't realizing that God forgives you.
Yeah. And my story with the center, I didn't have an abortion. And so it's been a lot of just allowing God to equip us. And I've talked a lot about this with our staff and volunteers, is like, it doesn't matter what you have walked through. We all walk through sin. We all walk through hurt. And just trusting God to lead you and to come alongside you. And if you are in tune with the Holy Spirit, he will continue to equip you to do what he's called you to do.
Yeah. And as someone who is walking through, like, foster care, or trying my hardest, and then maybe adoption, or we know people who have walked through that, like, I just would say to the moms that are like, parenting is not an option, so my only choice is abortion. Whether that's I'm in an abusive relationship, I'm on the street, I don't think I can stay clean off drugs long enough, or I'm just too young, or I'm broke, or whatever it is.
Or we've had women facing deportation.
Also, the reality that there are, speaking
as one wanting one,
as one waiting, like, and I just on that, like, the heart is always like, I would so much rather come alongside a mom who thinks she can't do it and tell her she can do it, and like pray with her and disciple and help her.
Yeah.
But say she can't, like, I'm waiting for an opportunity, like, to step in and help. And so there are plenty of people, even though it doesn't seem like it. And yes, not every single situation turns out the best ever, but it's worth giving that, allowing God to have an opportunity to work in that, in that child's life, and whether that's through parenting or foster care, and then you get it together and you get your kid back, or
and a lot
adoption, and you get to still be a part of their life.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Like, is there's definitely a stigma around adoption that it's like the CPS version of kids being taken away and ripped out of your home, and you have no control over where they go or their life. But there's so much to open adoption and the biological parent's choice in choosing a family and choosing the amount of contact and all of that oftentimes is overlooked in the heat of the stress of an unplanned pregnancy.
And even in foster care, I know families that are like, they end up adopting, but as long as that parent is not like unhealthy, you know what I mean? Like, they want that parent still involved in one way or another. And so I think, and it's hard. Like, people told me, don't get pregnant at 18. I got pregnant at 18. It's so hard to tell someone something and then them listen. So that, I feel like, is where prayer comes in the Holy Spirit, because it's like,
and just trusting that
God, you're going to have to do something. Yeah. Well, that's your job.
That's my job. That's my day job.
That's your day job. What about you mentioned a little bit at the beginning, you were married young, had 3 kids, ended in divorce, and you've been, I know you mentioned in a previous episode, or even in this one, how long you've been single parenting, right? 6 years?
Almost 6 years.
Yeah.
Did not think it would be this long.
but for a while you were like, good. You're like, I don't need anyone.
Yeah, I'm still good.
Yeah. No, I know you are, but you are in a healthy, you're like, you see the value in companionship, and the desire is there, and that's not a bad desire. That's a natural desire.
Yeah.
I do feel like you're in the hot seat.
A little bit. That's okay.
So, one, finding purpose after divorce, and kind of, are you open to love again? Are you open to?
Sounds like a dating show.
I know. Are you open to bringing a man? Because I know, like I did, right? Like Kyle and us, like, we are a separate family than I had before, but it's morphed and it's changed, and it's good, right? But that was like, for me, pretty quick, right? I wasn't single for 6 years. No. And so what's your like opinion on bringing a person into your unit? Like you said in the previous episode, like, you can say yes to everything the kids want to do, because it's just you and them. Yeah. So just kind of finding purpose, finding hope, and getting past the point of like, no, I don't need anyone. I don't want anyone, to like, I'm okay admitting that I'm to the point where it would be nice.
Yeah. Gosh, there's so much in that. Finding purpose. I mean, I feel like my kids are my purpose. There's been definitely times where I was like, maybe I was only meant to be married to have these children, and I have the children, and now that's my life. But yeah, I definitely went through a phase of many years of just being like, I don't even want to date. I don't, I'm not interested. I just want to focus on the kids. And I think that was really important. I think it really helped my co-parenting relationship. The fact that we've both been single. He dated someone for a little while, and it wasn't bad, but it definitely it didn't help who it was. But gosh,
that's a whole nother thing. So that's an off the record conversation.
That I think does play a part in like why we co-parent so well, because we are the two parents. We're not bringing in outside opinions. But I'm definitely ready and interested, and I'm not desperate by any means.
You still have your standards.
I definitely still have standards, and my standards are pretty dang high.
What we actually just talked about that at church this morning, ending a marriage series and talking about a lot of us were divorced, remarried, some of us were still single, and talking in singleness, it was like, don't settle. But to not settle, you have to know what your standards are,
right?
Or you'll, just like if you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for anything.
Yeah.
So what, after being married, divorced, and single for this many years, and being like, okay, I personally have done so much work. I've done so much growth. I know my value. Here's what I want. And that's okay to say.
So
like, what is that you're looking for?
I work really hard.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. And
you don't want another child.
Yeah. A huge, well, okay, number one thing, of course, is loving God. And I can say this because he and I have talked about this, but through my marriage, I was the one that was more the spiritual leader. And I don't want that. Like I am now, obviously, in my home with my children, but I really want somebody that is so spiritually fit that they are the one confidently leading our family spiritually. And obviously in a marriage, there's times where one is stronger than the other. And, that's why you're a team and partners and whatnot. But somebody that can come along, and spiritually guide our family. And then, somebody, I don't want to outwork somebody. I don't care if I make more money, but I don't want to outwork someone.
Someone who'll be like, I don't have to work full time. I can work 20 hours because you make enough.
Yeah, which I mean, I run a nonprofit, so I'm not like wealthy by any means. But I've never once cared about how much you make. I just don't want to be working harder and striving to provide for a family more than, and I think that's
a biblical,
been a hard thing for me though, because I'm the one with the kids. And so it's like, I want somebody to come in and want to provide for me and my children.
It's a fine desire because they know what they're getting with you.
Yeah. And then of course, loving kids and loving my children. And I think there's a tricky aspect of that too, because my kid's dad is still very much involved in their life. And so I'm not trying to replace him by any means. I have a pretty set routine with my children and discipline. And I imagine that it would be hard for me to have somebody else come in and discipline my children. But I think that comes with time and respect too. And I anticipate that I'd probably be somebody, but I say this, and then I'm like, watch me be somebody that's like dating for a short amount of time and just know, and then I get married. But I feel like I'd probably date for a long time before knowing for sure like how, because we have been a family of 4 for almost 6 years now, and we have our routines and our way of doing things. So to bring somebody, it's like I want somebody for myself, but then like trying to picture somebody in my family life is harder, and it's not something I don't want, but I just feel like it's going to be totally trusting God that this is who he has for me. Or
we talked, that was one of the questions this morning, was how do you keep your spouse as number one when your kids came before?
How do you? Did you?
And that's biblical.
It is biblical.
It doesn't say,
but it doesn't talk a whole lot about remarried.
It doesn't, but people did. Like spouses died, there was the next in kin, and that next person came in.
Yeah, but is there an aspect anywhere in the Bible of people with children, not like adult children, who they get remarried and then they're
not that I like specifically know, but I don't believe
that's why it's so hard.
But I don't believe that divorce changes the mandate on marriage.
It doesn't.
And marriage is created by God to reflect the marriage between church and God.
And that is one aspect why I do have this desire to get married again. And I've kind of come to that place in life where I just want my kids to have an example of a healthy, right? Not that everything would be perfect, but an example of a healthy marriage and family. And
one of the things, like, after I had shared about it, our pastor shared just with marriage in general, that it literally creates a safe space when kids see, whether it's a step parent or a parent unit love each other. And not put, even though they might not realize it all the time, but when they see that like you two value each other, you respect each other, you love each other, and you are following the biblical structure, like even though they might not always love that, in the long run they see like that's a security blanket for them.
And that is one aspect of like why I got I mean, that wasn't why I got divorced, but that played a part in it. Is because they were seeing a complete opposite. They did not feel safe because of our fighting and the way our relationship was. So
one of the things I shared, this isn't about me, but just on
this
that
is our podcast.
that topic. I actually loved that question, but I do think it's different for maybe like a man and a stepmom, or like a dad and a stepmom. But for me, the way it worked was he valued my kids from the beginning. The kids knew the value that they had in his eyes. And if they didn't, then it wouldn't have worked out.
Right.
But they knew they were a blessing to him.
Yeah.
Therefore, we always said he is the head of the household. Biblically, even though sometimes I'm like,
chill out.
Created them. Yeah. Or you know what I mean? Like I respect him. And I chose to marry him. I chose to give him that title. I chose to bring him in as that head of the household. And so I would say we're pretty good at it. Not that we're perfect, but for the most part, it's like he is that person. And so the kids know that. And they do respect it, even though as older that they get into their teen years, they sometimes don't.
Yeah.
But I think that's just
But they were young when you got married too. And so I think that is another hard thing is like they're older. You know, like my youngest is 6. By the time I got married, he'd probably be 8.
Yeah.
Or older. And so it's like
I just think but it's like allowing, even though it's uncomfortable, like their relationship is gonna be its own thing.
Yeah.
And they don't have to call him dad, but they can still respect him as a parent.
Yeah.
And I think just like your son needs the respect, the husband needs the respect.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is a tricky.
But we say all this, and I'm not dating, and I can't imagine anybody coming into my life that I would date.
It's gonna happen.
I get told to do dating
attached.
apps.
She's like,
oh my gosh.
And like Kyle says, you know how like people, I mentioned this actually this morning. People are always like, you are so lucky to find a man who loves you and your kids and provides. And I'm like, I say that snotty right now. And I was like, I am so lucky. But what he has repeated to me a million times is how lucky he is. And I think that as a single mom, it's so easy to feel like unintentionally like they didn't sign up for this, or this isn't their ideal plan, or look at all this. My kids aren't listening today, and it's not, and they aren't his, or
I
whatever.
have to be uncomfortable or feel bad about that.
Yeah, no, because the good far outweighs the difficult.
Yeah,
they're a blessing.
They are a blessing.
Are you willing to have more kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's even more like where we couldn't.
Yeah.
It's like there's only gain to be had with marrying you. I'm telling you. Sure, there's difficult things, but there's difficult things with everyone, especially at this age. Like everyone has something that they've walked through, or some baggage, or some pain, or whatever.
Yeah.
Just picking and choosing what you want.
Yeah. Well, the dating world sucks. So
what are you trying to do? Are you trying apps? Are you trying?
Yeah. All the above. Yes, I begrudgingly get on dating apps, and then I get off of them, and then I try them again, and then I get off of them. eHarmony told me I need to lower my standards and not look for Christians, and I'd get a lot more matches.
Get behind me, Satan.
And I responded, so now you're telling me to lower my standards? Like, I was real mad.
Ridiculous.
The only reason I was even talking to them is because I was trying to cancel my eHarmony.
But you have gone on a few dates.
Right? Yeah, like 3 in the last almost 6 years. Well, we also took a long time to finalize our divorce because it was through COVID, and then neither of us were trying to date, and so we weren't officially divorced until.
And then it was like, do we try to do it again?
Yeah, there was a point where we tried. So I think it was like January 2022 when we finally
said, no, we're for sure going our separate ways.
Well, we had already decided, but by the time we actually went and finalized the paperwork, so so of course I didn't date through that time, but so I've gone on a couple dates. I am the first one I went on, I didn't offer to pay, and I feel like that upset him, but I was like, we're on
the standard
date. So and I just don't really know many single people. So it seems like dating apps are the only way to go, but I hate dating apps. They're like a full-time job, guys. I'm trying to, or they want to send you feet pics. Yes, I was talking to this guy that was like, I wish I could send you a picture of my feet. I just went and got a pedicure. And I was like, thank God you can't send me a picture on here. Like, I don't want to see your feet.
No. And we always say, kind of jokingly, but kind of seriously, that any man that you date is going to have to fit into our group of 3. So, like with Kyle, like we still have to be able to hang out and do stuff.
Yeah, I might ditch you guys if I found the right guy.
Well, the right guy will not be getting pedicures.
No, unless he's paying for me to
get one first. You a feet picture. Anyways, to wrap this up,
I digress.
How has God met you where you are instead of where you feel like you should be? And any last kind of, if there's someone watching who is walking through divorce or singleness, whether they're divorced and single or they're still single just waiting for the right one, how would you, what kind of advice would you give to steward that season in their life? Or maybe someone who's like trying to jump into a marriage.
Yeah, I would just say trusting God that he has seasons. And there's definitely been times where I'm like, gosh, I'm so sick of being like, Carly was not single very long. Because her and Kyle, it just was right. And it was blessed and it was good. And, but I kind of had that in my mind of like,
here we go.
It's not going to take 6 years to find somebody. So I've definitely had to like check myself. There's times where I'm like really never like overly disappointed, but just like really ready to like meet somebody or like, why is it taking so long? Why am I, a lot of it, comes down to like parenting is like, it's so hard to do it on my own. And,
or even just,
I posted
to share that with, like, not even just make parenting decisions, but like to dissect your day or talk.
Yes, I posted on TikTok and
what a mom said, thank you for sharing. I feel this.
Yes, but a pet peeve I have of my own is when somebody who's a solo mom, meaning like their husband works out of town during the week. No, but and that's why I posted what I like the way I posted it though. It's like I hear a lot and I am not belittling like solo moms. Like if your husband works out of town or a lot, like that's still very, very hard. But what a lot of people don't realize is like that is so different from being a single mom is because I don't have somebody that I can even call at the end of the day and be like, the kids did this.
Or even just financial help.
Well, that, yeah.
Like that's even a blessing. Even though you're solo parenting, you still have like a provider.
But like the big thing is just like somebody that you can like decompress with at the end of the day and just share your highs and the lows of the day and like the struggles and have somebody come alongside you and like pray with you or even if they're not there physically in the house every day, somebody that you could just lean on. And that has been I think that's where I've found the hardest struggle in the waiting is like doing it emotionally alone. And so I would just encourage you, like if you are in that season, just to really lean on God because he's the best companion that there could ever be. And so really learning to lean into him and trust him and go to him in journal and prayer and worship and just trusting that in the right time he will bring the right person. And I think I've definitely not pushed. So just just trust that he has a plan and a purpose in the waiting and in the growing and all of that.
Yeah, our timelines are never his.
Right.
Ever.
So, yeah.
I feel like that was a little reminder to myself. They aren't, though. And he definitely says, ask, seek, knock. Like, I believe that, like, single people, ask God for a spouse. Ask God for a spouse that has the attributes and characteristics that you want in a husband. Ask God what he wants for you in a spouse, in a husband or a wife, in a step parent to your kids. And then ask him, I think someone mentioned this today too, is like, what can I do? Like asking the Lord, how can I prepare myself? to be the best spouse for that person.
Yeah, and that's what I've found myself doing a lot more over like the last year or so. It's like there was definitely things in my marriage where I fell short. You know, it wasn't just one-sided. And so God just created me the wife that you want me to be, that you've created me to be. You know, just like, for example, my house used to be a wreck. Well, I did have 3 small children and a small 2-bedroom, but just being more mindful of like, how would I want to be if a guy?
How would you want like a spouse to come home to?
Yeah, like
yeah.
And am I going to be like rushing to change all these things about me if I finally meet somebody? Because I feel like, so just trusting that God is working within me to create in me who He wants me to be for somebody. And so, I want somebody to come into my life, but I also want to be the person. I want to attract what I am proud to be with. So therefore, I want to be somebody that somebody else would be proud to be with.
I like that.
Mic drop. No.
And just working, that is one thing, because we did get married so quickly after and so quickly just in our relationship. And there was circumstances that played into that or whatever. And I believe it was blessed. I believe that we're together for a reason and and whatnot. But there's definitely some things. I mean, and this is just life. You're always changing. You're always growing. There's always going to be things to work on. But I think that earlier on in our marriage, there was never even like really a bad time, but just more that I personally was needing to like work through than I realized I had to.
Yeah.
Like I thought I had healed from so much, even from before my marriage, my first marriage, that I had healed from, that I had not. And so, luckily he's so gracious and walked through that with me. But there were times where I was like, I just wish I was already a better person for him than I am right now.
Yeah.
But
so that's what I continue to do, is make myself physically and mentally who I want to be, who I would be proud to be with. Or somebody would be proud to be with.
Yeah. And your kids are a blessing. And you will be a blessing.
My kids are definitely a blessing.
Yeah. So you happen to be single watching this.
Oh my gosh. You're probably not if you're watching this, because it's motherhood based.
And equally yoked and want to lead. And also not a foot of a person.
Really want somebody that's fun.
Yeah.
Like,
because I'm not even fun enough for you.
No, you're not. No. But I am like the kind of person, I just like, and that's, I think another hard thing is like, I just don't know many single people either. And if I do, I don't want to ask them to do something because I don't want it to come across as like,
trying to date them.
You're single, I'm single, so we should be together.
Such an awkward thing to have to.
As adults, it is. Yeah. And so, just having somebody to have fun with. And like, I have my kids the majority of the time, but when I don't, I want to be like out doing stuff and having fun.
Not just staying home and
sitting around missing them. I do that enough. So,
yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all of that, from the pregnancy center and divorce to where you are now and where you're hoping to be. So I think this episode alone is going to reach and be able to reach and be relatable for so many different women.
I hope so.
So many, like from needing the pregnancy center to maybe volunteering in one, if they like this conversation has stirred their heart, to maybe fostering and adopting, maybe
financially
supporting, praying, walking through divorce, singleness, like so many different, remarriage, even, so.
Well, I hope so.
that was very vulnerable. Some of it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening.
Yes. We hope that you got something out of it. And I just kind of want to end a lot of our episodes like this. Like if you need prayer in any of these areas or in an area that we didn't even talk about, like we truly are not people who are like, yeah, I'll pray for you and then don't. Like we even ask each other, did you actually pray for them?
We do check each other. She was like, I said I would, she put a TikTok thing out.
Yeah.
I was like, well, did you actually pray for those people?
Yes,
and she was like, yes, I did.
So, so if you need prayer or you just need someone to hear what you're going through, resources, whatever, she knows. She can connect people to any center in the whole world, really. Not the whole world.
No, I have a worldwide, but.
Oh, do you really? Okay, the whole world. But I was really going to say the United States, but the whole world. So if you need resources, if you need grace, if you need prayer, if you need encouragement, we would love to be that for you and connect you with others that can too.
Yep.
So thank you for watching, and we hope you stick around for the next one.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us on Faith-Filled Motherhood.
Be sure to follow, share, and check out our website for more opportunities to connect.
We'll see you in the next episode.